is an Unspoiled Network podcast.
This is Spoil Me, covering One Piece, season whatever, episodes 24 and 25. In these episodes, Zoro wants to be the strongest swordsman alive, but he gets his ass handed to him so hard. It's almost embarrassing, except for the fact that he keeps a little bit of dignity at the end. And also, Bernadette is here. Welcome to Spoil Me. Welcome to the show, everyone. I am Natasha.
Hi, I'm Bernadette.
Yay!
Also, Bernie.
You want me to call you Bernie?
I really don't care. Everyone has decided that Bernadette is way too complicated and way too long, so everybody calls me just whatever they feel like. So I have a million nicknames. Just pick one and roll with it, or don't.
All right.
I don't know.
I'm gonna go Bernadette. I like your name. It's very old fashioned, and it has a nice sort of it is old fashioned. You don't hear Bernadette often. That's not necessarily a bad thing. I like old fashioned names.
I have the most perfect story about my name. Whenever I'm in France, so I'm from Germany, which is close to France. And whenever I'm there, people are like, oh, "What? You're called Bernadette? Oh, do you know this is a French name?" I was like, "No, I've not ever heard about that." What?
That's people here in the U.S. when they hear my name's Natasha, and they're like, "Oh, are you Russian?" Or they ask where Boris is. Very original. Wow.
Yeah. Or Ivan. Yeah. Yeah. But then the French people always decide to tell me that, a lot of people are called Bernadette in France, but they are all 50 and up. So I have an old lady name in French.
See, I can understand it feeling like an old lady name if you're around a lot of people who have the name who are older. I think of it as old-fashioned, but not an old lady name, because I have never met a Bernadette. Do you know what I mean? So for me, it's the kind of name that would pop up in Twilight, one of the Cullens, Bernadette Cullen, because it's old-fashioned enough that it feels a little bit you don't really hear that anymore. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But anyway, welcome.
Hi. We should maybe at some point start about talking about one. I don't know.
I guess if you insist. So
I don't know. I think that's what the show's called.
Tell me why you picked these two episodes to be on the show. Because
one, and I think I have made it clear in the chat already. Zoro is my absolute favorite of all of them. Also, because I've watched a lot of anime, it's not only my favorite in One Piece, but across animes, I think he's one of my favorite characters.
Nice.
And also, I really, really like Mihawk. And then, of course, them two interacting is really nice. But I picked this episode because now we have some episodes already. We were hearing a lot about the Grand Line. And now we see the first person, basically, who's not from East Blue and who's from out there in the big world and the Grand Line. And so I thought it's maybe a good opportunity to talk about, what do you think the Grand Line will be, the rest of the world will be? Do they ever get there?
Gotcha.
Stuff like this. So do you have any theories? What's your impression so far?
So, first of all, correct me if I'm wrong. Is Mihawk's first name Dracul? Does he say that his name is Dracul in the episode? Because I feel like I caught that, and then I was like, surely not.
Yeah, no, that's his name. He's
okay. It's wild because it's we're clearly going with a Dracula theme, but we're not going to have any of his abilities be linked to anything Dracula-like. Because as far as I remember, the lore of Dracula is not that he was an exceptional swordsman or anything. So it's weird because we have the whole motif with the coffin boat and the flames of the candles being green for some reason, which is just meant to be unearthly. And his eyes are pretty wild. But he doesn't drink blood or anything. Does he? Well, I guess you can't tell me.
Well, I cannot tell you. Why would I tell you? Or how you would always say, did you forget what the purpose of
So I don't like one of my main takeaways watching these two episodes. Again, I'm sorry to everybody who doesn't give a fuck about this, and that may be you, Bernadette. I'm just seeing so much where the author of the Cradle series got so much of his inspiration, because this whole, like, I'm going to come up against somebody who is so far out of my league that I literally don't understand what they're doing to parry me in the first place. Mm. And I am left humbled, but also like, wow, I could eventually be that good. That's pretty awesome. Maybe I will get there one day. That's like the vibe of the entire series. It's just intimidation plus hope equals progress, hopefully. And I have to say, as much as I appreciated that Zoro manages to hold on to a little bit of dignity at the end of the fight, he really went in there with some confidence that I don't feel was entirely warranted, considering that he just saw this guy chop a fucking ship in half. He saw it happen, and he's still like, yeah, I got this.
Yeah, I'm not sure whether Zoro saw from where he was. Because before they learn that it's actually Mihawk there, mm-hmm. he just says something to Luffy along the lines, it's weird things are happening here, or like stuff's weird here. But yes, I think that he was a little bit too confident of himself. Which is weird. So this is, I think, very out of character for him, because this is not how he's normally portrayed. Mm-hmm. But maybe he was just like, this was to show his ambitious side.
I think that might be part of, like, I think that's part of what's sort of, like, ringing a little bit wrong for me, is the fact that it did feel a little out of character. And the only thing that I sort of explained it away while I was watching, with him being so preoccupied by the promise that he made, that it's sort of overriding his better sense of judgment. But nevertheless, it was really like, I just couldn't help but laugh, because instantly, as he's like, oh yeah, I'm going to go and fight this guy. I was like, oh sweetie, no, look, I think you're very good, but you're like Great British Bake Off good. You're not like going into the pro cake decorating championship good. Just pace yourself. I have to come up with a food analogy. I'm sorry, everybody. That's just always how I operate.
I really get it. Yeah, it's not like really good patisserie what he's bringing.
Right, exactly.
But I think that Gabby and Alex in the chat are making such good point that they're saying, well, he probably didn't think that the difference was so big. And I think, like, if you meet your idol and your goal, you must be nervous as hell. So I think that maybe he was also not able to bring his A game.
You know what I'm thinking too? And look, no offense, Zoro, but you are a dude. And dudes just carry this sort of energy a lot, where they're like, well, I know you're better than me, but you're probably not that much better than me, to like a fucking professional. And I'm like, why would you think, what gave you that idea that they aren't that much better? So I feel like if Zoro were a woman, this wouldn't have happened. Zoro would have been like, oh, I look forward to crossing swords with you eventually. If you'll take my card and get back to me in like 10 years, that would be perfect. But, that's often to our detriment, because as women, we just second guess ourselves to the point that we don't take action at all a lot of the time, because we don't think that we are adequate. And bitch, there is a guy out there doing the job you're dreaming about way worse. go and do it. Just do it. So my advice is be a Zoro. Worst that happens is you just get some cuts, but it's fine. He got to walk away from it. Well, he got to swim away from it.
Oh no! Because you said crossing swords, and this is where I already had to laugh because I'm one inappropriate bitch, and Max is also like Mihawk definitely had a bigger sword.
Y'all, and I can't take you anywhere.
I know my phone is blowing up right now with One Piece spoiler chat. Because, we already had all the dick analogies about the sword.
I mean, you can't help it. Especially, fucking Zoro coming in with 3 of them. He's like, I have a really big sword. Oh, really? I have 3. So, Zoro, I don't know how to tell you this, but max 2? Yeah, max 2. If the third one were located somewhere totally other, then maybe that would make sense. But that really wouldn't work super well. So, no. It's just too many.
Making it worse. He just said, and Hawkeye having a small blade until he got excited.
Well, when a guy manages to do better than you with a much smaller blade, you can't help but take that shit a little bit personally. Because then you can't pretend it's just a size issue. Then it's a skill issue. And there's no, getting around that. So, yeah. Anyway, all of this makes total sense to me. All right, let's actually talk about how the episode begins. Because I have it playing here, but I just didn't actually, get into it, really. So, what's the name of this one? I'm looking at it. Hawkeye Mihawk, the great swordsman Zoro falls on the sea. That is not a good title. That translation feels like a mess. It's
not spoilery because this is a problem with this show.
It's not spoilery, but he says Zoro falls, which I guess is a little spoilery, but it doesn't really say anything coherent, so it's easy to get around it. So we actually start this episode off by dealing with what happened with Nami taking the ship. I will be honest with you guys. When we found out that she had bailed on them, it did not occur to me that she also took their fucking ship. I don't know why. I was like, oh, she took a different ship. I figured there was a spare. Maybe she stole a ship because there are customers at the restaurant that are moored, So I think that she just took somebody else's. I didn't realize that she took theirs. Because later on, they go after her, Usopp and Zoro. What ship do they take? I don't remember.
I don't know. Maybe it's either the ship of Yosaku and Johnny, because they have a ship.
Yeah, Gabrielle is in the chat saying that. Okay, I forgot that they even had a ship because they just appear. So
yeah, because they shoot the rock.
Yeah,
yeah. But what do you think about Nami stealing the ship?
I have very mixed feelings about it because on the one hand, I'm she's well, I never said I was part of the crew, and I'm okay, technically that's true, but bitch, come on, come on. This is one of those people who is the Fae, and they say some backward, and then later on they're I didn't technically lie, and it's okay, no, you didn't, but that was garbage, and you know it. So a part of me is mad at her, and another part of me is finding it very amusing that she just bounced and just didn't give any shits. She is so unbothered at the part of me admires it. I can't lie. I really want her to be on their side, but she's playing hard to get to another level, and I have to respect it. I really do. I don't know what she's planning to fucking do without them, though. That's my main thing is she's clearly going after this particular pirate that these brothers are telling her is super, super dangerous and very strong. And I don't know what she's thinking she's going to do all alone on this ship to catch the guy. Like, this is the second time, because she distracts the brothers by asking them if they will turn their backs while she changes. This is one of those things where I'm like, she could have just snuck up on him and shoved him off any time when they weren't paying attention. The setup is sort of like gratuitous, but it does tell us something about Nami, which I appreciate, which is the fact that she doesn't mind using her feminine wiles at all. And we did already sort of see that with Sanji. Is that his name?
Yeah.
Because she's playing him to get a free meal, which, again, respect.
Yeah. She also did it when with Buggy, when she was in the cellar with all the treasure. And there.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I forgot about that. That's funny. So yeah, she does this to like get them to turn their backs, and then she shoves them off the ship and is just like, bye-bye. And I just really, that's my main concern. I'm sure they'll get the ship back or something will happen, but I don't know what she's going to do by herself. What's she thinking she can, is she going to use her feminine wiles on this pirate? Because like, that's a real gamble. I would not be confident of that, especially when you're sort of going to put yourself in a position, I'm assuming, based on how the show has gone so far, where you're meeting somebody in their stronghold surrounded by their crew and their people. I don't know. It might not go that way, but, you know, that's how we've met most of these, like, fearsome captains so far. Mm-hmm. So I don't know what Nami's doing. I'm concerned for her, but I'm not concerned about her. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think. Because we already saw that she's like kind of a badass, not in like a fighting way like Zoro or Luffy, but she can handle herself quite well. So, but it's nice that you're curious about what she's doing because, you know.
Yeah, and she has a real reaction when she sees this like wanted poster last episode. So it feels like she's got a particular vendetta against this guy. And I'm very curious to find out what that's about. So yeah, that's how it starts off, is her, them telling Luffy about how this all went down. And what is it that she says? I just joined forces with them. That's all. And then she gives Luffy a message. I can't even remember what she tells them to say. Yeah, here it is. Tell them that if we're linked by fate, we'll meet again. I find it so creepy. I just have to say this. I don't remember if it's Yosaku or Johnny. I think it's Yosaku, who is like, can we just turn around and like take a peek?
Yeah, it's Yosaku. While
she's dressing, or allegedly. But then he's also the one that keeps calling her big sis. And I'm just really like, guys, unpack that. Don't do that.
Yeah, I think that's a Japanese thing. Oh yeah, Gary's also saying it, because if you call like someone big sis or big brother, this is a very, very informal way of speaking in Japanese. It's like, hey dude, stuff like this.
Okay.
So it just because normally they use like honorifics when they speak to each other, and like the higher you are, the higher honorifics you get. But this is like a very informal way of speaking, like you're very familiar with the person.
Okay.
So
it doesn't have the connotations that it has for me when I hear him calling her that.
Yeah, it's not necessarily meant like sister literally.
Gotcha.
So it does translate like this, yes. So this is what he's saying, but
right.
They also call Zoro Aniki, which means big brother, but could also be like a guy in high school who's 2 years older than you.
Gotcha. Okay, cool. All right, so we go from that back to the present with this ship that has been cut in half. and them trying to figure out how they're going to deal with this situation, because Luffy is very insistent that they get Nami back, and Zoro literally calls Luffy a high maintenance captain, which I love so much. I don't know why that got me so bad, because they have a bit of a stare down. Look at them looking at each other. Oh my God. And when he says, what a high maintenance captain, I was just like kind of struck by it, because high maintenance isn't the word I would think of for Luffy, but like, he's not wrong. Luffy is a lot of work, man. Like, yeah, damn. I was suddenly really struck by thinking back on, we've got some captains out here that are putting their crews at risk and big assholes, but there's something about Luffy's brand of it that it feels much less purposeful and much more like they accidentally keep winding up in these situations. It's one thing if your captains keeps being like, we're doing the thing, and you're like, all right, I am prepared for that. But with Luffy, it's always, oh God, oh, this is happening. Like, yes, nobody has any say in it.
And it's like, not even Luffy has a say in it, because he's like accidentally shooting a cannonball into a river.
Right?
Like, ending up with a chore boy there for a year, what he doesn't even want, but he also cannot get out of it. So
I love that he makes this deal at the end. He's like, how about if I get rid of these guys? Can I like not do chores anymore? And the owner's like, that'd be great, because you will definitely destroy this fucking place if you stay working here. I would like to get rid of you. So,
oh, the shade.
So this is when we have the like real introduction of Mihawk. Yes. Hawkeye Mihawk. It's very repetitive. It doesn't sound that way in Japanese, however they say the first name.
No, the name is Dracul Mihawk, but they always say the last name first, so basically we would call him Mihawk Dracul. And
gotcha.
Takanomi just means hawk eyes, so it's like his nickname.
Gotcha. Okay, cool. This dude looks awesome. I
wanted to talk with you about, like, what do you think about his whole vibe, aesthetics? I don't know how you would call it.
Yeah, so his look is like Dracula meets Zoro, like the Zoro of our story. You know what I mean? Like, because there's something very Spanish influenced about his outfit and his facial hair, it feels like. And I really love his golden eye color a lot. There's something about it that's very memorable, like in a way that you wouldn't expect, considering how simplistic the design of his eyes actually are. And I really like any character that is this badass, but also this sort of sedate with it. Because he literally doesn't like move for most of his interactions. It's not worth it to move for these idiots, is really the vibe,
What do you think about his move when this guy from Don Krieg tries to shoot him?
So he uses this tip of his sword to just redirect the bullet, and the guy is just like, whoa, what? And Zoro has to explain what happened. And when Zoro compliments him, he says something about how, like, gently he used the sword. I'm sorry, guys, I can't say this shit without, like, I know what y'all are fucking thinking over there. I am not addressing it. How gently he handles the sword. And I, in my opinion, correctly, Mihawk is like, swordsmanship that relies solely on force isn't any good. And I was like, he's right. So yeah, he's evidently his weapon is also a good defense here, which is pretty cool. He doesn't actually need a shield. His sword is also a shield in a way. Which, how did he get this good? Who did he study under? Where did this ability come from? Because there's a sort of hint that he may have eaten a devil fruit himself. I don't know if that's like actually a thing, but I feel like there's something that Don... I always want to say Keurig, like the coffee maker. Krieg.
No, it's just Krieg. Yeah.
There's something about the way that Don Krieg talks about how like there's just so many people who have eaten devil fruit on the Grand Line.
This is like my favorite theme ever because it's just so dumb. Because his logic is, he's just so strong because he's probably eaten a devil fruit, and the Grand Line is like everybody basically has eaten a devil's fruit on the Grand Line because he says like it's crawling with people like this, and then he's like, but we will go there, even though we just got our ass handed to us by just one guy,
There is nothing to, like, indicate that shit's going to go any different. And yet he's still prepared to turn around and go back in. If I were one of his men, I would just jump overboard. Like, may as well get it done now. That shit's obviously about to happen anyway. Like, whatever. And one of his men questions him on it and is like, are you sure that we're going to... And he just shoots him. Guys, don't question him. Just leave. Just leave. Just leave.
Yeah. It's really dumb because he basically banks everything on this alleged notebook from the owner, Zeph. And this will help him now on the Grand Line.
Right. He's just like 100% certain that it's going to have all the information and I'm like, for all you know, it's full of recipes. Like,
yeah. He's so hilarious. He's like, yeah, you got it. Eggs on toast.
So, okay, I'm watching it as oh my God, I forgot that this tiny blade that he uses is from the little crucifix around his neck. How did I miss that the first time? Oh my God, it's so small.
Do you know what I think is most hilarious? The face he makes just in a second, where he says, if I had anything smaller, I would use that.
Zoro is so offended.
There's no need to be that disrespectful.
Right? He's like, this is literally the like absolute least, other than maybe going like barehanded, which I did consider. Jesus, okay, dude.
Be a nice time.
Right? So Zoro goes up against him with the 3-sword technique, and this guy just stops him dead in his tracks with this tiny blade. And Zoro is completely taken aback. Again, Zoro, maybe you didn't actually see him cut that ship in half, but you had to have seen the ship get cut in half. And there's just only so many people who could have done it. Right? Like, he's not putting his fucking, like, his puzzle pieces together here at all. And he keeps going at him. It's like getting beaten so quickly and so easily with so little effort. He just completely loses it. And he starts windmilling wildly with these swords just like coming at him. And it's like, sir, you're not helping your image with this at all, man. What? Zoro, preserve some of the pride you have left. Again, we have him. Look at him. Look at his face. Oh my God. I love this. As slowly the veins in his eyes start to become more and more pronounced. He's just like beginning to really start to stress. And he's remembering this promise that he made. And I had forgotten that was like how it went down, was the two of them promising each other the night that she died, which is it makes a lot of sense why this is so important to him. But they basically promise one another that one of them is going to become the world's greatest swordsman. And now that she's dead, it has to be him. So, I'm sorry, Zoro. I respect that. I understand. It's not going to happen today, buddy. Sorry, super sorry. But it won't. You're just going to have to be a little bit more patient or train harder or whatever. Alex says, I love how well this establishes the scale of this world. After 23 episodes of Zoro being an unstoppable badass, now he is up against a real big shot and he can't do shit. And Gabriella says, Mihawk even says, East Blue is the weakest of the seas, so them being strong here means shit. Yeah, and this is part of what I mean when I'm talking about the whole, like, cradle thing. You haven't read any of them, have you, Bernadette?
No, but like now I really need to get on it because if it's so much like One Piece, I will probably like it.
I feel like I just really see the influence very much. But it's a similar thing where you start off in a sort of sheltered community and their idea of what being powerful is very limited because they don't actually have access to a lot of like knowledge or understanding of the magical system they use. And gradually you begin to understand just how like stunted they are and how much is possible. And it's really fun. I'm always a fan. And this is partially true also of like, I'm covering Mistborn with Miles. The magic system in Mistborn is similar where you get given these basic rules and like, it turns out the people who gave you the rules told you those rules because that's what they thought. But that's not necessarily correct. And you gradually begin to find out like, oh, they were wrong about this or they didn't understand why it worked this way. And it turns out there's a way to like counter that. And as the books continue, it becomes clearer and clearer that like most people have a very like basic grasp and there's a lot more that's possible within that magical system without changing the rules of the system itself, you know? So yeah, I'm a fan of that. I always like being told, oh, hey, way more than what you thought was possible is not only possible, but like maybe even common once you get out of this little bubble that you're in, you know?
Yeah.
All right. I'm going back into playing this episode. I look at poor Zoro. He's so tired. Look at him.
He's just so droopy. And now he can't even properly walk or stand. But he's like, no, I'm gonna keep fighting.
There's something so sad about the knife in his teeth, the like sword hilt in his teeth when he's doing this badly, because like it's already a goofy fighting technique. You know,
no,
it is.
Very cool and very bad.
I just spat all over everything.
I'm so sorry.
Oh, God. No, it is very cool and very badass. But yeah, like, it's such a goofy thing. And when he's winning, you can overlook that it's goofy. Because you're like, well, clearly he knows what he's doing, I guess. But because he's losing, I can't overlook it anymore. And I'm just like, dude, oh, this is so much more embarrassing with the friggin' sword in your mouth, man. Like, it doesn't have to be like this. Ugh, everything.
Max just said real men put swords in their mouth.
Max, stop distracting Bernadette.
He's just making dick jokes. Like, all his comments are not...
Oh, my God.
Anyway. Yeah.
So, yeah, by the end of this, he has accepted that he's going to be injured and beaten. But would rather die than back down from his goal. And, I mean, this winds up working to his advantage because Mihawk is, like, admiring of it and basically backs off saying, well, I hope to meet you again someday when you've gotten stronger. But honestly, everybody out there, don't take this attitude where you'd rather die than walk away from your goal. Walk away from your goal. So you're more go like, do better.
So you're more like Team Sanji because he reacts to this also.
Very much so. Sanji seems very practical, and I appreciate it. Because, like, how are you going to actually improve? Basically, by saying, I would rather die than walk away from this. What you're saying is, I'm letting myself have one try at reaching my goal, and if I don't do it on the first try, then I'm giving up by letting myself die. Which I don't think is actually admirable at all. And it almost feels like more cowardly to me than walking away so that you can keep training and fighting another day and suffering the, like, indignity of walking away. Yeah, it sucks and it's embarrassing, but that's part of growing, is the humility that you gain when you realize that you are a small fish in a big pond after all. Mm. Every talented and gifted kid has gone through this moment where they thought they were still the fucking hot shot, and then they realized that they were in a classroom full of hot shots in college, and they had to decide whether or not they were going to, like, you know, basically, I have known people who decided to go to, like, less prestigious schools because they preferred to be a big fish in a small pond.
Really?
And that's kind of the vibe that Zoro gives off here, is like, well, I'd rather just, like, stop here then. No, dude. Like, take your blow and accept that you miscalculated dramatically.
Which is such a nice way of saying it.
And that's fine. You didn't have the knowledge that you needed to calculate accurately. Nobody is blaming you for that. And yeah, it's embarrassing, but life goes on, you know? But instead, he's just like, whatever, just kill me. And I'm like, that's just weak sauce, man. But what do I know? Because apparently fucking Dracul out here is like, no, that's 100% the attitude that impresses me. So I don't know.
Yeah, it's I think it's most about the situation where he was like, because after this he's giving up, because he's like, okay, now you can slice me open, but please from the front because the back's painful. Clearly, make total okay. I kind of get where he's coming from, but come on. So he kind of gave up and he kind of accepted defeat, but it's just this weird thing about not stepping back from the play. It's like, because he would be stepping back from the promises. And I don't know why this is connected though, but also I'm not a swordsman, so
I don't like you said, it's like, I'll accept the cuts, but, like, again, I'd rather die. Why can't you just, like, accept your cuts and then be like, all right, I guess this one goes to you. I'll see you later. Like, I don't know, whatever. Zoro is a man of extremes, is what I take away from this. And we knew that already by the flashbacks of him as a child, a literal infant child with a fucking thing between his teeth as he pulls a boulder up. Something ain't right. Zoro, what's going on? What's with his family? Do we know what happened to his family? Did he just sprung fully formed from the woods outside this village?
I mean, look at his head. Maybe he grew out of a cabbage patch.
That's what I'm saying. Like, he's got a little bit of the vibe of the guy who got stuck in the treasure chest. You know, like,
maybe he was like a distant uncle or something. I don't know. But do you know what the most hilarious thing about it is? that that Zoro in the beginning had the audacity to call Luffy high maintenance, while this bitch is so extra, and be like,
that's
no,
true.
slice my front because I don't want to have a scar in my back.
Oh, that's true. You can't be saying you're high maintenance and then be like, I'm going to go fight the strongest swordsman in the world. I'm doing it right now in front of everybody. I know that the whole ship got cut in half. I know that there is a pirate captain with guns on his shoulders. I know, but first, I need to do my thing. Sir, set it aside. So anyway, it looks like, for a moment, it looks like Mihawk has killed Zoro, because he cuts him across the front and then just, like, tosses him in the water. And Luffy launches himself into this fight. At first, the two brothers wanted to get in there, and Luffy stopped them and was like, let it play out. This is his thing. Let's see what happens. But then once it looks like Zoro's dead, he's like, oh, you motherfucker. And he just, like, boom, does that, like, slingshot thing. And I paused it on my favorite part, which is when he gets knocked aside and his head goes through the planking on a piece of the ship, and he has to, like, brace his hands and feet on the outside to pull his head back out, and his neck is so stretchy that it's just not really coming. It's like when you're trying to pick up a piece of melty pizza and the string of cheese just won't quite, like, let go, like that kind of energy. Yes.
But, okay, so spoilers. That's not really a spoiler, but this is a thing you will never learn. I just watched an episode, like, I think 200 or something episodes in. He does the same shit.
That tracks for me. Somewhere. Luffy does not strike me as somebody who learns lessons well. Like, I think he would learn... I think there are some things that would stick with him more than others. And in this moment, he's too distracted by how angry he is to, like, even register this moment. I could practically hear him. Do you remember? Have you seen Home Alone?
Once, yeah, a very long time ago.
So Joe Pesci does this thing because he wasn't allowed to swear in the movie because it was for a family movie. So he does this thing where he, like, makes sweary noises under his breath. And that is 100% what I hear Luffy doing under his breath in this scene as he is trying to drag his head out of this hole. Just, God damn it, can't believe this. God, get it out. Like, just look, oh my God. And then when it finally comes out, it's like this snapping motion that throws him down on his back. It's great. I love it so much. Luffy's weird stretchy power is a genius choice to give him, because you could make him strong, you can make him all kinds of things, but this is so much weirder. Whose idea was it? Who was like, okay, we're going to have this main character. He's going to have a superpower. Hear me out. And they were all like, yes, that sounds like the exact superpower we want our main character to have. What was that conversation like? Were they saying, I have this idea and I think it'll work because it's super weird? Or did they not realize how weird it was when they were doing it? Or did they not care?
I think, first, it's the point that he's also weird and funny. Mm-hmm. And the thing is, with mangaka, so with Oda, the guy who drew this, I think it's not a board of people deciding, okay, we will make this show now, but it's this guy, he's like, I'm deciding to draw this comic. And then people started to like it. So I think he can make all the decisions he wants to.
So he made this comic completely under his own steam. Because, like, that is something that I feel like doesn't happen that much anymore. Now it's like you have to have money behind you already in order to be successful half the time. Not necessarily always, but I'm just so used to everything having to, like, be approved by some like governing body, you know? So he just went for it on his own.
Yeah, it's like Gabby says, like it's like writing a book. You just start something and you need a publisher that are like, okay, this sounds fun, let's do this.
Alex says he did it for Shonen Jump, which is the magazine that most manga of this kind come out on. Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, it's a magazine. Like every week there's a new chapter, so it's not like a whole comic book. But he just like draws new chapters, and yeah, it's funny enough. It's not the weirdest anime, so probably no one was like, "What? This guy's pretty weird."
Yeah, now that I'm thinking about how you guys are talking about how this happened, I'm like, okay, well then he was probably mixed in with a lot of weird shit, so that makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I just really love the energy behind making the main character particularly weird, because it's just such I feel like with a lot of like pop culture stuff, we're very like afraid of making the main character not an everyman. Do you know what I mean? Like it always feels like they have to be this sort of like self-insert character that you can, as an audience member, you can imagine yourself in their shoes, or they have to appeal to so many people, and it can get really boring. And I really appreciate that Luffy is not like that at all.
No.
Alex called him a chaos gremlin. That is what a friend of mine has. She just started a Patreon, and that's one of her tiers is chaos gremlins. So that's fun.
Yeah, also the manga is really old. I think it started in 1998, 99, so it's like really, really old. And then, of course, like when it got some track, and I mean, it's the most popular manga ever. By now. So now, of course, he can do whatever the fuck he wants, because people started calling him, his actual name is Oda, and people put a G in front of it to call him God, like Goda. Yeah, because, you know, fanboys.
That's not even good, guys.
No, it's not. But that's just his name now.
This is why they're not writing good shit. All right, fair. All right. So, oh my God, I forgot about this moment where he's just like coughing up blood on the ground, and I was just like, good God, this is pretty brutal, actually. I will not be defeated ever again. Won't you, though? Like, I appreciate this energy. I do. But I just feel like he's setting himself up for further disappointment. How do you expect to get better if you will never be defeated again? Has the girl that you were friends with who whooped your ass continually for years on end taught you nothing? Getting your ass handed to you repeatedly is what made you this good, man. So don't say you're never going to get defeated again. That's not the lesson to take away from this. He's focused on the wrong shit. He needs, I want to sit down with him and have a talk and just be like, look, buddy, I understand your feelings on this, but you really need to recontextualize your goals a little bit. All right.
Yeah. What do you think about the promise he makes to Luffy?
What is the promise that he makes?
Yeah, he says that he will never be defeated again and become the strongest swordsman in the world, because this is what he would need as the pirate king. He cannot have any less than the strongest swordsman.
Again, I feel like you're just looking too much for external validation, Zoro. Do it because you want to do it. Luffy would let you stay on his crew. He's not going to be like, well, you're not the greatest swordsman, so I'm sorry. It was great having you. But now that I've watched your humiliating defeat, I guess you're not part of this crew anymore. Like, what is he going to do? Replace Zoro with Mihawk? Is he going to, like, do a proposal here in front of everybody and be like, hey, Mihawk, guess you're part of my crew now. Thanks for coming. Appreciate that little audition that you did, but you've got the all clear from me, buddy. Like, that's not... I just really appreciate the intent behind it. But again, I don't think that that's necessarily important to Luffy. So just like make yourself a promise because you want to do something. It's fine. I just feel like everything is about, I made a promise to so-and-so. Make a promise to yourself, man. That's what comes first. That's what's important.
Yeah, Alex said that that it also shows that he believes that Luffy will become Pirate King, which is very nice. Because at the end he called him Pirate King.
Yeah. I don't know. He's emotional right now. Yeah, I'm not sure I'd really... He's making a lot of proclamations. I'm just saying. I'm not taking any of this particularly seriously.
But what about the promise Mihawk makes?
Oh, that he will find him again and fight him again? Yeah,
because he says that he will stay on the top and wait for him. And stay in this form, basically, and wait for him to challenge him again.
I enjoy that. I got to imagine, somebody like Mihawk doesn't have a lot of people that, like, are worth fighting. It must get really boring.
You know? Why he went after Krieg.
That's kind of the vibe I'm getting. It's like he's just floating around like, ugh, God, what am I going to do today? Oh, there's like 50 ships. I guess that'll take up like part of an afternoon. Because it doesn't sound like it was very long, and he just tore through them shits. So that just like, it just really does seem like he was just floating around waiting for trouble. Right?
Yeah, kind of. Because he's like, he doesn't even have like a nice boat. It's just like this.
No! It doesn't seem like he has a job. Like, what is he eating? Is he a cannibal? He must just steal off of the ships that he cuts in half, right?
Well, the thing is, he didn't lick Zoro, so I don't know after he cut him because, blood and stuff. But
yeah, it's true. Maybe he drinks fish blood.
Because that's so much better.
He's on a ship. It's easier. God, how creepy would that be? I would be much more comfortable with somebody grabbing a fish out of the water and taking a bite than somebody grabbing a fish out of the water, clamping down their teeth, and just sucking the blood out of it. Somehow, sucking the blood out of like a mammal, that's one thing. But sucking the blood out of a fish, ew. That's so much like, so much worse.
We should ask Edward Cullen about it. Isn't he like a vegetarian?
He would just be he would be so whiny. It would like take him an hour to answer the question couched in this fucking story about this time where I was just, it hurt too much to kill mammals. So I decided I would only drink fish blood. And this went on for 30 years. And it just, oh God, Edward, just get a life.
But when you said that he drinks fish blood, I was like, had this image in my head where he like grabs down out of his stinky little boat and just like grabs a fish and opens the head and just like drinks like he can.
Like he's popping a top off of a soda.
Yeah. I much rather lick Zoro then.
I hate it. All right, so this is when fucking Don Krieg is like, okay, now that you're done with that fight, I am going to challenge you with my guns, even though I could have definitely shot at you in the midst of that fight when you were very distracted, but I was super respectful of it and gave you your space. But now I'm going to fight you with my guns. And a completely unbothered Mihawk is like, this stupid bitch. Again. Oh, God. And we see all this, like, explosion happen. I just realized that guy's hat says baby on it. Did you see that?
Yeah. There are a lot of little weird details in the background always.
I don't know why that's so funny to me. I mean, it's written in English, and I'm like, did the person who wrote it know what it meant? Or is this like one of those cases of like, you know, you'll see those shirts, especially from Asia, that have words written on them in English, but it seems like whoever wrote them didn't realize what they really meant. And so it'll say something like in aggressive lettering, but it'll be like, turkey roof now. And you're like, what is that meant to mean? I don't get it. And it doesn't matter because nobody else knows what it says either. It's like when Americans get a tattoo that's like, oh, that's Japanese for sunrise. And it's actually potato, but they just don't know.
Yeah, I think it's kind of because, you know, in Japanese, it's like English words sound cool. So okay. I don't think that's necessarily the person wanted it to say baby. It's just like, how we need a short word which can fit on a head and it's like, sounds cool, baby. I mean, it's better than soup.
Is it?
Imagine it says soup.
I feel like soup, at least I'm like, I want to know more about that. But baby, I'm like, is he wearing children's clothing? What's happening? It's like a baby Gap shirt. All right, so we see the like explosion, and then the smoke clears, and it's just, damn, he escaped. And that's it. We don't actually get like any retaliation from Mihawk at all, which I was a little bit surprised by. I thought that he was going to use his sword to send the bullets back or something. What I wanted, full disclosure, I wanted Mihawk to solve my Don Krieg problem and kill him for us. Mm. That would be nice. It would be great if it was just like, you know, okay, this guy's obviously a pain in the ass. I'm going to do this for you guys before I leave. But he doesn't. He just escapes. We don't actually see his method of escape either. Like, can he fly? Can his ship fly? How did he get out of there so completely? What happened? Tell me.
No. Also, we missed like in the last episode, or like in the episode 24. I think it's in the end where Luffy goes to the Barati again, and like all the cooks are standing there, and he snaps there and like is hanging on this. Oh God, I don't know.
On the railing.
Yeah. Oh, it's the same in German. Okay. Then on the railing, and the cooks are all like this.
The cooks do not know what to fucking make of him, which I do enjoy, because all of the cooks are just sort of useless anyway. Most of them, they're just hanging around like, well, we'll fight when we need to fight, but like for now, I'm very much out of my element. But yeah, and this is when he asks, if I get rid of Don Krieg, can I get out of doing all these chores again? And he makes this deal. And I think this is also when he sends off Usopp and Zoro to search for Nami, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. So he's planning on taking down Don Krieg without his friends, just like mano a mano, which that's a gamble. That's a gamble.
Well, one of them just got cut up, and the other of them has a slingshot.
The thing is with Zoro that every time he gets injured, he seems to bounce back really quickly. You know? So I just still have this like feeling something's up with him. I don't know. I feel like he's hiding something. I feel like there's more to Zoro than meets the eye. That's all I'm saying. Oh my God, this is when we have Don Krieg shoot that guy. This like anime thing of their eyes going dark when they get angry creeps me out. Not gonna lie. Every time it happens, I'm just like, ugh, all over again. There's something about it. It's very expressive, like it works for what it is that they're trying to get across, this like sort of blind rage. But oof, I don't like it. Oh, I forgot about this moment. Look at how little Mihawk's chin is. He looks so weird right there. So this is where we get the whole thing where Don Krieg talks about how everybody on the Grand Line eats these fruits and Luffy's no big deal. And we get an especially great shot of Luffy hanging off the front of the ship like a fucking monkey, grinning over his shoulder and looking profoundly non-threatening. Like, we know that he is a badass in his way, but in that moment, he does not look like a badass at all. He looks like a 7-year-old who's had way too much sugar, and his mother sent him outside and was like, run around. I don't know what you're going to do. I don't care. You are no longer in my house because I will smother you to death if you're in here for another minute. And, you know, that's actually pretty accurate to Luffy's energy most of the time. A 7-year-old a little bit high on sugar.
All of the time. Which explains, like, Zoro's attitude from the beginning, where he's like, oh, again, okay, I'm a fetch this bitch if you say so.
Fine.
Yeah.
So this is when we get the debut of, well, first of all, we have Sanji's memories. And as this is continuing, I had said last episode that I was assuming Sanji was the son of the owner. And the vibe that I'm picking up is less like blood relation and more like a son, you know? And that the tactic of using the technique, I guess, of using his feet as a weapon was taught to him as if he was this guy's actual son, because he doesn't have his own kids, I'm assuming. But
Okay.
I don't know. They might be blood relations because there's not that many blondes in this show. And they're both blonde. So that's part of why I assumed they were actually related to one another. But I don't know. And the whole thing with Sanji in this section is really that he remembers how important the restaurant is to the owner. And it becomes more and more important to him to keep it from getting destroyed inside. So he sets things up so that they can have a battle on the fins that like come up from underneath the ship. And that way the interior won't get destroyed, which Don Krieg is all about as well, because he assumes that this ship will shortly belong to him and he doesn't want his property destroyed either. So he's like, yeah, that's fine. I'm game for that. But, okay, let's talk about the Pearl. Okay.
This guy, I still do not know what to do with this guy.
Same. I guess first we have like the debut of this, this ship weapon that has what's it called? Cannon, I guess? Is it a cannon or a bazooka inside? Yeah, they're cannons, basically.
Yeah.
Mackerel Head 1. Oh my god, how did I not remember it's called that? And this thing is actually like a pretty good, formidable weapon if you're not up against somebody like Don Krieg. But this guy is impervious to the shots. Like, they unload on him, and I guess it's just like all of the metal that's built into him that makes it so that this has no effect whatsoever. I have to assume all that metal also makes him very heavy, because even if it didn't pop, like just break a hole through his chest, it should have sent him flying, and it doesn't. I'm just reading too much into it. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine.
It's just armor.
Look at it. Look at it. Nothing. It does nothing. There's not a scratch.
Yeah.
Did we bump into something? I forgot that they say that.
Yeah, I really like them because they're just so dumb.
They are.
But like, but they are still so motivated and so like have this can-do attitude. It's like they just fail at everything.
What is the name of? Because the first guy is Patty.
Yeah, I don't remember the other guy's name either.
Okay, because there's a chef with like glasses. Carna.
I think it's probably carne, like meat.
Okay.
Because the other guy is called Patty, like a patty.
Oh, of course. Oh my God. Oh, this stupid show. How dare they? I'm so mad now. God.
That's like number joke.
Fuck. All right. Moving on. So let's see. What is this? Oh, that's right. He sends that ship flying over to them, and this is when Sanjay uses his foot technique and kicks it off course because it's about to like crash into the restaurant. And he kicked back that weird boat. Oh, I love it. Yeah, so I like this because it's a revelation of Sanji having some respect for the old geezer, as he keeps calling him. And everybody is surprised at the fact that Sanji was able to do this. You almost lost powerful assets, you stupid spaghetti. That needs to be a thing that we say again to people.
You stupid spaghetti?
I'm really... Now, stupid, a lot of people feel is ableist. It probably is. I should probably stop using it. It's very hard for me to like get that one out of my vernacular. Spaghetti? Just, okay, you fucking spaghetti. What would you say if somebody called you that? You don't know how to react to that.
Here in Europe might be a different thing. Because we call each other, all the other countries, by the stuff they eat. Like the English call us krauts or potatoes. True. And we call the Italian guys spaghettis.
Do you?
Yeah, it's like it's a slur, kind of.
Oh,
for Italian people here. So I would not be comfortable with calling people spaghetti.
God damn it. This is really what growing up is all about. Thinking you finally found a great insult, and it turns out it's just a slur, and it's no fun anymore.
Oh, Alex is from Greece, and he said that we do too. Yeah, I think it's a European thing. Just make fun of the other culture, because, we are all so different here. So just,
I think that's
the food the other people are eating.
Because people call French frogs, right? And that's meant to be because they eat frogs' legs?
If the frog eaters, yeah.
Yeah. I guess that's a thing. That makes sense. Well, damn it. You Stupid Spaghetti was great for a second there. I really liked it. Oh, well. What can you do? Okay, so I forgot about this part. This is when the battle actually really starts. And they have brought the wings up, and they are on the edge of this, like, little battle balcony that they're waiting to fight on. And Don Krieg is standing there approving of this whole methodology. And this is when we have Pearl show up. And Pearl is a real fucking mystery. I don't know what to make. This is, out of all of our villains so far, I think the weirdest one. And that's really saying something. Yeah, let's talk about this outfit. You ready? You ready for an outfit analysis? Because we get a little scan up from the feet. And Luffy rightfully, what's with that guy? What is with that guy, Luffy? What is with that guy? So he's got shoes with giant pearls coming off the top of the shoes. He's got a couple of big shields over his knees.
They're like knee guards.
Yeah. With a big pearl in the center of each of those. And I would like to just state for the record, pearls aren't strong stones. Like, those would break with a hammer if it was a real pearl. Like, pearls are actually notoriously fragile and aren't a good choice for daily use of jewelry, especially rings or things like that where they'll be hitting stuff. So I am baffled at the choice to have it be a pearl that's like so strong you could shoot a cannon at it and it's fine. Continuing on, we have the giant shield that covers his torso with another giant pearl in the center, and then a smaller shield off to the side, but also two shields, one for each hand. So there's like a control shield.
No, he has two shields on each arm. The smaller shield now on his side is on his elbow. And the other one you see is also in his elbow, and he has another one in his hand. Because you need elbow protections.
Oh my god.
You know, the best pearl, though, is on his head.
It's on his head. It looks for all the world like he is a man with dreadlocks wearing a swim cap.
Yeah, he looked like a power cap. That's so true.
It's just like he's got a lot of hair. He could barely fit it in that swim cap. It doesn't quite come down to his ears like a swim cap should because there's too much to fit. But he's doing his best because otherwise it's going to be a nightmare. And he also has earrings on, pearl earrings. All of this is over what looks to be just shorts and a tank top. And he has this weird face that if you're picturing the kind of face that a human pearl would have, this is not that face. This guy looks like a frat boy, or like, you know, there's something about his whole vibe that for me says rich kid who's on his dad's yacht for the day and is still probably in high school but tells people he's in college. Like, he's got a look to him that feels really like he would wear those turquoise Dockers shorts that have little pink whales embroidered all over them.
Oh, yeah.
You know the ones I mean?
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking
about? And these white, I don't know, sailing shoes. I don't know whether they're...
Yes, boat shoes.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
These are like my kind of people, these people.
For those who aren't watching, she made an exaggerated no to the camera.
I should have made a gag noise. Like,
you would have done the anime gag sound that they always make when they're shocked.
Yeah, I cannot do it like that.
This is just, he is such an everything about him doesn't go together. It's so weird. And he's got this one little, like, Superman curl of hair in the center of his forehead, too.
Because he can't fit it in his shower cap.
Yes! Like, I don't know what his deal is. And he is so, like, the whole, like, shape of his body, it doesn't, like, he has I mentioned last time that Don Krieg reminded me of Kingpin from the Spider-Verse, and this guy even more so, because Don Krieg, you eventually realize that those are like, you know, the shoulder epaulettes under his jacket and all that, but this is actually the shape of this man's body, because all he's got on are the pants and the tank top. So he is actually shaped like Kingpin with shoulders that come up around like his temples. It's really bizarre. So we're running out of time. So Luffy catapults himself into this guy after a series of unsuccessful attempts. And he winds up drawing blood because this guy had just been bragging about how nothing can, like, he can get shot with a cannon and those don't even work on him. And I have to say, look, this guy is nothing but weak spots. The fact that, I mean, he's got whole swaths of bare skin exposed. He's holding up his arms in such a way that the shields are behind him. And he's like, nothing can hurt me. Anything could hurt you. A gun could hurt. How is it supposed to be that his skin is also like pearls, like hard?
Maybe he can just like turtle, retract into the shield.
I guess. It doesn't look designed well enough to do that, though. It just like...
He probably just fought amateurs.
I feel like that has to be it, right?
Yeah. Especially when we just learned that East Blue's like the weakest of all seas.
Mm-hmm.
Probably just had like weaklings, I don't know. Also, when we were just like talking about fighting, what do you think about Sanji's fighting style? Because I think he gives here a little bit of rationality, or I don't know.
Oh, what does he say?
Why he does it like this.
I don't remember. What did he say?
He says that he will not use his hands for fighting because he needs them untouched for cooking. That he cannot hurt his hands.
Listen, Sanji. We haven't seen this guy cook. Now, look, I know he must have, because he comes out with plates of food twice for people that the cooks are evidently unwilling to cook for. So I have to assume Sanji was the one who cooked that stuff. But Sanji wants to keep his hands clean for the ladies. That's really what he's up to. Right? He's like, I gotta keep my fingers free so that I can go pick some flowers and present this lady with a lovely free meal. How could I do that if my hands were calloused? I don't buy it. So it's for cooking. Okay, sir. Maybe your dad taught you that, and that was his reasoning. But I don't think that's it for you at all. At the very least, for jerking off. But anybody who knows a chef knows they get covered in burns on their hands. So probably not that either. I don't buy it. That's my ultimate judgment call on Sanji. I'm not buying it. But I don't understand Sanji. You know, he goes back and forth. Sometimes he seems to not give a shit, and sometimes he seems to care so much. It's like when he seems to care the least is when he actually cares the most. Sanji, why can't you show us that you care? You don't have to hide it, buddy. You're among friends. He's not. He's not among friends. I'm lying.
No. They're all pirates.
So yeah, anyway, this guy has just like done his monologue about how nobody can draw blood against him. And then here comes Luffy hitting him. Winning unharmed is proof of my power. I'm a shield man and a gentleman. I'm refined, aren't I? Here's my favorite bit. Was that supposed to be a gag? It wasn't funny at all. It says Luffy from the... Thank you, Luffy, because I was kind of like, what does that mean? After he said that. And I appreciated Luffy being like, that wasn't any good. All right. You know what? You can get away with it not being any good as long as you acknowledge it within the text. It's fine. So he draws blood, and everybody who knows Pearl-san is like, oh shit, this is really bad.
Like, time to freak out.
Because evidently, when Pearl-san, I don't know, like he says, I never, like nobody has ever drawn a drop of blood. So he says that, but everybody seems to know what happens when he gets bloodied. So it can't be that this never happens. He's just full of shit. He's a liar.
Yeah, he probably just like, because he seems to like black out now and just like go crazy. Maybe he just forgot all the time.
That's interesting. I like that theory. That it's just like he goes into a fugue state and doesn't remember. So yeah, when he gets upset, he catches fire and he turns into this like white hot flame that's like, you know, because of the whole pearl thing. And then he shoots that fire at everybody. And later on, he winds up having these like fire pearls that he throws, but those are a separate thing, right? From this, where like the fire pearls, those are objects that are like bombs, but this is just like he just ejects fire out of his body. Is that right?
I don't think it's the body. I think it's from the armor or the pearls on his armor, because, you know, pearls are not only apparently very hard and very durable, but also can catch fire. I don't know. Like, nothing about him makes sense. Also, like, the whole character, I don't know.
I'm going to put this here. It's getting the sun in my face. Good God. I don't understand any of this. This is baffling. Also, can we acknowledge the fact that we have introduced so many new characters within the past, like, 3 episodes? We've met, like, 12 new people.
Yeah.
So Sanji comes and kicks him. And everybody's like, don't go into the fire. And Sanji's like, shut up. Let me do my... Sanji's just so, like, bored of everybody all the time. He's got sort of an energy that Zoro has, but Zoro, at least in a fight, he seems like he gets focused. And Sanji doesn't even quite get that. He's more like, all right, now I'm going to kick you because I'm tired of hearing you talk, is really like more of the energy from him, you know?
Yeah,
so
he's fighting as Zoro is.
Yeah, it's not about the fight. He's just like, oh, I guess I have to fight now because you won't shut the fuck up, you know? So this is when Pearl-san fires his fire pearls. And the owner does a leg sweep of such power that the gust from his leg sweep puts the fire pearls out. Which I gotta say, those fire pearls must be very weak. Because literally it was just wind. And it was just like, can't take it.
It was just for Zara. For Zara, like Harry Dresden does, but with the leg. I mean, it's even the blasting rod on the leg.
Ventus Servitas! That's one of the other wind ones that he does.
Yeah, but everything about this Pearl guy seems so weak and so weird, and it's like...
so weird! And he comes out of nowhere. Like, we've been hanging out with Don Krieg. We've been hanging out with his crew. We saw all of them eat and, you know, gather together to talk about what their next plan was. And then, and we never see him at all. And then all of a sudden he just like turns up. Where did he come from? And he winds up, look at this. It just says, that guy sure is dumb. I'm sorry. I need to take a fucking screenshot of this for the group. God damn it. I hate when it does that. Because I just love this so much. That guy sure is dumb. Amen, Luffy. Look at his weird head. Is he dead? Or is he just knocked out? I hope he's dead.
I know, I mean, also, like, he has really skinny arms and legs.
Yeah!
And big torso, and it's not fitting to his head, and everything's just weird about him, and then he's very effeminate, but then at some point he's, like, mad because Sanji's more refined than him, and then he just, like, goes crazy and on fire, and...
Yeah, I felt like there was, like, a little bit of, like, coded queer, but, like, not quite enough for me to be, like, offended exactly. It was just like, well, you seem like you're dancing on that line, but then you're sort of pulling back and being like, oh, it's just that he's wants to be, like, upper class or high class or something like that.
Yeah, I think that's what he's going for. But it's really weird because I also never can make out whether he's supposed to be queer-coded or not.
Yeah, because if he was like like if we were going to go in that direction and he's upper class or trying to be, I would put him in a costume underneath all of this weird shit. Put him in a tux. That would be fun. You know? But instead he's just in this like old undershirt. It's really like the way it looks. And his body, like you said, his arms are so skinny and his legs are so skinny. And I think it's supposed to be that his body is like round like a pearl. But
that's why he decided on pearls.
But he's not like spherical. He's like round like a cookie.
Yeah, like a pancake.
Yeah. And like with his little legs and arms coming off him, he looks more like a spider. How they have like a big fat body, but then like skinny arms and legs,
like
you know?
The most terrible ones. Spider.
So he goes down. He gets like cracked in the head. I gotta go back and look at this. It's the mast of the ship that lands on him and smushes his head down, and that was a really like, it was just a bizarre, all of the animation for it and the way his face goes like purple is really weird. And, what is it that, oh yeah, this is when, Don Krieg is like, everybody that I send out there just ruins everything. I am the only one who can manage any of this. And this is when, what's his face comes up behind Zeph with a gun. Gin, thank you. I am going to really just hope that this is going to turn into a, like, the Last Jedi moment with, yeah. So, Kylo Ren looks like he's about to turn on Rey in front of big CGI bad man whose name I'm forgetting.
Snoke.
Thank you. And it all looks very bad, but then he doesn't, and spoilers, kills Snoke instead. And I'm just going to cross my fingers that is what Gin is doing, because if he even is thinking about shooting Zeph, what the fuck?
Yeah,
don't you dare. I don't like it. But why would he do this then? Just maybe to distract Don Krieg? I feel like there's been enough distracting happening. I don't know though, because like none of that actually follows logic, because like I said, Don Krieg could have gone ahead and like unloaded his weapon at Hawkeye at any time during the fight with Zoro, and he doesn't. So obviously like those kinds of rules don't matter. But yeah, I didn't like this, and I don't like seeing Zeph on the ground. He's just too like, first of all, he's too old to be like manhandled like this. Even though he's a badass, he's still old. This shit, it's just disrespectful.
Yeah, it's
you know?
really rude.
I didn't like it.
Also, like, this poor guy, he just has this restaurant on the sea, minding his own business. Then these pirates come. He doesn't want to feed them. No, I don't think that he ever interacts with them. But, like, Sanji just feeds them. Then he brings back, like, more pirates. And then they're like, yeah, we will just steal your ship. And, by the way, you cannot do anything about it. Thank you.
I just, like... he just deserves better than this. Let the man make his food and leave him alone. Just, he deserves better than this. That's all I'm saying. Team Zeph. For the record. So that is the end of the episode. Is there anything that you wanted to add before we wrap this one up?
Yes, just like a very quick question. Because
sure.
We have now heard something about the Grand Line, like a little bit, and we met someone from there. Like, do you have any theories where this is going? Do you have any ideas?
all I
Will
can
they
imagine, I don't know. Like, I feel like they'll reach it, but it's that this series is so long running that I'm like, can they get there? And like, can we find the One Piece and still have a story? Do we just search for the One Piece for 20 years? And is that not incredibly frustrating for everyone? Like How I Met Your Mother? Or I really don't know. I have to assume that the Grand Line is maybe bigger than they expected. And I don't even know what the Grand Line is, though. Like, when I think about I'm thinking of it as a stretch of ocean.
Mm-hmm.
Is that, well, you can't tell me. I can't know.
I could, but I won't.
Because like,
yeah, you actually haven't learned about it yet. Like what it is, how it looks.
So, I don't know. And like, are the devil fruit people as common as Don Krieg says? Because if so, that's a problem. Because Luffy's the only one of them who has eaten one. So they better go find some. But do you get to know what power you get from it? Like, there's all different types of fruit, right? I'm wondering if, like, each fruit has its particular ability, or if you eat it and it gives an ability particular to you based on, like, other abilities you already have.
I see. Yeah, I think they have told us already in the show how it is.
Have they?
Because they always say the name of the fruit they have eaten.
Okay.
Because, Luffy has eaten the gum gum fruit. And Buggy says that he ate the chop chop fruit.
Oh my god, that's right, the chop chop fruit. My god.
Yeah.
Doesn't get more basic. Alright, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I don't know. I have no idea. I really don't. Like, it could be that we draw this out and we don't have them reach. I mean, I figure they have to reach the Grand Line, but I don't know how long I don't know what it is. I don't know how long they stay in it. I don't know if it turns out the One Piece is even there, because maybe that pirate lied to everybody about where the One Piece is. We don't know that this guy is a reliable source, you know? And there's just like, I got nothing. I really have no idea. I really don't. No theories. I'm sorry. It's all too vague for me still.
No, it's fine. You will at least find out what the Grand Line is, because we have already commissioned so far. So that you will get there.
That's fair. Oh yeah, and I got a note from Florian recently about filler episodes that will be skipped.
Oh yes, this is something I actually wanted to talk about whether he already explained to you, because the thing is that the manga is still not finished, so the comic book basically, so they sometimes have to fill in filler arcs so that the anime will not catch up to the manga, because of course they need time to also produce the manga, and most of them you can watch them on your own, but they are not from the guy who actually made the original story, so the story is kind of weak, and you really don't need it in the long run of the story, because it doesn't factor in later, so you can just skip it, like the side stories from Harry Dresden. So
right.
Even less, because it will not be referenced back in the normal story back to the
and it's not even the same writer, so
so this is why most of the people in all the rewatches they just skip them, because they're not good. Some of them are, but you can clearly tell it's a different writer, and also they mostly have not enough story or stuff where you what is interesting enough to talk about. So I think to cover them, we were nah, you can just watch them on your own if you want to, but it's not interesting enough to cover them, because it really has nothing to do with the whole story. It's
so there was one that he had said 61 is the first half is filler, the second half is important. Canon starts at 13 minutes. But I'm planning on watching the whole one. Just FYI, I am not playing with a half episode.
Yeah, I know.
But for those who are interested, he said the episodes that are filler are 51, 52, 54, 60, 54 through 60, right?
Yeah. And they
61
are really
is half, and then 98 and 99 and 102 are all of the ones that are filler. So just if you guys are like going to be looking at the spreadsheet to see what's commissioned and there are things that look like they've been skipped, that is why. Do not fret over it. That is what it is.
Especially like these, I think 54 to 60, like these, of all the fillers, these are my least favorite fillers. Like these I hate the most.
I am definitely going to watch them, just for the record, everybody, even if you don't commission them.
You should, especially it's like watching them as the first time, you get to know the characters a little bit more. For that, they are nice, but story-wise, they're mostly crap. There are fillers later on, which are hilarious. Like, we were already, okay, but how about these? And we're like, no, of course, she has to cover them. Because they are so good. Because sometimes you say, oh, like, One Piece is so crazy and so bananas. They take the bananas of now on, like, a whole different level. It's like, it's not in even the same league because it's not even playing the same sports. It's like this
so this banana is Zoro, and those bananas are Mihawk.
Yes. This is perfectly compared. Like, oh, I love them so much. They are so crazy. But this is what I adore so much about you covering this series, because you're always so baffled how insane it is. And I'm sitting here like, oh, just you wait.
That's my favorite part, is I have never watched something that so continuously surprises me. I genuinely, like, this has been the most shocking thing. And, I've had things that have shocking twists at the end or whatever, but this is like every episode I'm just like, what? So, yeah, that's enjoyable.
So this is why it's fun to ask you for predictions, because this series is so crazy that even though, like, now I've watched, like, I don't know, 900 episodes, like, I still cannot predict anything what's going to happen. so crazy. And, like, of course, now we just started, but the storytelling later on gets really, really, really interesting, and you get, like, really roped into it, but it's still really crazy. Like, your brain just constantly tries to, like, marry both of the facts. This is insane, but also really interesting.
Well, I am looking forward to it. All right. So bring it on, bitches.
You should.
All right, everybody. Well, thank you, Bernadette, so much for joining me. I really appreciate you coming on and commissioning this. And you also pre-commissioned a bunch of episodes for the rest of the year to make sure that we stay on track. And I appreciate that also.
It was a delight.
So thank you guys again for listening. I hope you're enjoying the coverage. And when will I be seeing you guys again? Friday, a week from today. June 25th at 7 p.m. Central Time. So I will be seeing you all soon with a new episode. Until then, toodaloo, motherfuckers.
Bye, guys.
That was an Unspoiled Network podcast.